The opening round of the Fanatec GT World Challenge Europe powered by AWS Sprint Cup is here at Brands Hatch. We're in the sunshine. We're on the full Grand Prix circuit, and this is a proper old school circuit. It's got ups and downs, it's got barriers close to the edge of the circuit, it's a real driver's track, and it's one that can bite. There is no margin for error. It's also relatively narrow, and that's put the onus on the teams throughout qualifying. A good grid position is absolutely essential as we get set for the first 60-minute blast of a whole new season of GT3 sprint racing. Welcome to the Fanatec GT World Challenge Europe powered by AWS Sprint Cup, where star drivers in supercar brands go head-to-head in the fiercest GT competition. So, how does it work? There are 5 events with 2 races at each. The races last for 1 hour, and each car has 2 drivers, so there's a mandatory pit stop in a window between 25 and 35 minutes of the race, in which every team must change drivers and change all 4 tyres. Those pit stops can be done as fast as possible in the Pro and Silver classes, putting the emphasis on the pit crew as races can be won or lost in the pits. All the cars run to international GT3 regulations, but then divided by driver grading. The Pro class is for the real stars. Many are manufacturer-paid drivers, and the winners are most likely to come from here. The Silver Cup is for the young guns, up-and-coming but less experienced or successful, while Pro-Am is just that, an amateur racer partnered by a pro as the gun for hire. There are 26 cars from 6 different brands, and it means there are battles throughout the field in 60 minutes of high-octane drama. So who do we look for a win this weekend? Charles Weir's partners Dries Van Thor, and the pair of them have won the Sprint Cup for the last 2 seasons. Once more aboard a WRT Audi, they're looking for 3 in a row.
It's a really special track. It's not often you have such elevation changes, but no, I really like it. It's old school, so you don't have the rights to a mistake. So yeah, it's gonna be nice. I enjoy it. We know it's a good track for the Mercedes, so we'll try to be in the mix with them and just try to gather as much points as we can. We had again a great start of the year here in Imola in Endurance, where we won the race, and we'll just try to keep up that form. WRT is for sure one of the best teams on the grid, and it's for sure a lot of pleasure to drive with them, and let's try to make another success with them.
Jules Gounon was a star 2 weeks ago in the UK in the opening British GT Championship round, and here he is at another good old school circuit for the Acodis ASP Mercedes team, looking for a victory.
Those UK tracks are amazing. I had so much fun in Woodland Park 2 weeks ago. It's the same track, you know, it's grass and then straight the wall, so you need to respect the place, go step by step to the limit, closer to closer. And yeah, it's an amazing place. Last year went well. We did P3 with Razman Umarescu, my teammate last year. But like you said, it was an eventful race. So let's try to stay out of trouble this year, do great qualification, and then we try to send it for the race.
A potential winning team in the Silver Cup is Sky Tempesta Racing. They've switched from Ferrari to Mercedes for this year, and that poses new challenges for Eddie Cheever and Chris Froggatt.
You know, everyone knows the Sprint Championship is extremely competitive like the Endurance, but here there's even less margin for error. The races are only an hour long, so you know, you've got to make the absolute most of it, and it's probably a more aggressive style of racing here. New car, so yeah, absolutely a lot to learn in the new car, and we're still getting to grips with it, but I feel over time we'll definitely get there, and here at sort of my home track I feel quite comfortable, so fingers crossed we have good pace.
Another car to keep an eye to, indeed another battle to keep an eye on, is in Pro-Am, where this McLaren of Garage 59 should star. Miguel Ramos is a perennial racer in the championship, joined by newcomer Dean McDonald, the Scotsman, eager to go racing.
Yeah, I think everyone enjoys this place, don't they? When you go out in the GP, yeah, it's great to drive, and yeah, I've done a few races here already, so a bit of experience. So I was in this car in British GT a few years back, and actually with Garage 59 the first year I raced. So yeah, a few familiar faces, and yeah, look forward to getting started again with them. I think it will be competitive. Looking at last year at this race, McLaren was on pole, so yeah, all goes well. I think hopefully we should be there as well.
Remember too that these European races make up part of the global Fanatec GT World Challenge powered by AWS. The brands scoring points in Europe, America, Australasia and Asia. Currently it's Audi that has the advantage over Mercedes AMG, with Porsche in 3rd place. But 2 good results here in Europe this weekend could radically shake up the order. So the grid here at Brands Hatch is formed, and we are looking forward hugely to this first Fanatec GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS Sprint Cup opener. It is a 25-strong field because we are sadly without one car. I'll come to that in a few moments. John Watson and David Addison are trackside, and down on the grid is Gemma Scott, and she is with the man most people have come to see, Gemma. It's Valentino Rossi.
Well, if we can just interrupt you for a moment, wonderful to have you here. A sea of yellow around Brands Hatch. It's a real pleasure to see so many fans for you. But your first time here, how are you enjoying the circuit?
Yes, the circuit is fantastic. It's very particular, very fast, and is good. And thanks to all the fans, because here in the UK I have always a big support in all my career, and also today. So it's great to see all the people. Absolutely,
and of course we're here at 17th on the grid. There's a bit of work to do. Maybe a little bit daunting into Paddock Hill Bend, I don't know.
Daunting, what's mean?
Well, there's a lot of work to do and perhaps a lot of cars in front of you and anticipation.
Yeah, they are my friend in front. They let me pass.
You've done a deal with them.
Yes.
What's it like for the fans that don't know this circuit either, to go into Paddock Hill Bend, that drop down as a driver? It must feel quite incredible.
Yes, it's incredible because so the track is very narrow, don't have a lot of curb, and also you have a lot of up and down. So exit from the first corner, when you go down and you come up, it's like you remain without breath, you know. And especially you have a lot of blind corner, and it's very difficult. You need to take the right point to entry.
And your target for today?
Good question. Try to recover some position, and we see.
Thank you very much. Have a great race. Thanks, Valley.
The sea of yellow is absolutely right, because everywhere you look there are Rossi fans. They were here on Friday, even though the cars weren't on track. They were trying to get a glimpse of the great man and an autograph. And we're going to have this John Watson all season. The Rossi effect is just immense. So the grid now being cleared. Elise de Pauw starts on pole position with Jules Gounon alongside. Mathieu Drudy and Timur Bogoslawski share row 2 ahead of Charles Wirtz and Aurélien Panis. Gilles Magnas had a spin into the gravel yesterday, but starts 7th alongside Peter Schothorst with Simon Gachet and Thomas Drouet on row 5. Row 6 is the Sky Tempesta Mercedes of Eddie Cheever. Nicholas Schurl is alongside him ahead of Jean-Baptiste Simonard and Ethan Simeoni. Then it is Igor Walilko and Benjamin Goethe next. He starts 16th ahead of Valentino Rossi, and the quickest car in Pro-Am, Louis Machiel, starts in the Ferrari ahead of his teammate Ugo Delacour. Adrian Delina's Porsche ahead of Ollie Wilkinson's McLaren and Giorgio Roda's Dynamic Motorsport Porsche. Patrick Kroprinski's McLaren's had brake dramas this weekend but starts 23rd. Miguel Ramos had problems yesterday, but he's on the grid 24th, and Isaac Tutumlu's Lamborghini rounds out the order then. The cars get themselves into the Noah's Ark 2x2 formation. The leading car, as it is, will peel into the pit lane, and then it is up to Elise de Pauw and Jules Gounon on the front row of the grid to control the pace. You can't really go racing until the lights change. If you do, then it's an anticipatory start. Penalties could come, but the opening round of the Sprint Cup is about to get underway. Jules Gounon has got his nose in front, so eager is he to get on with the job as the lights go green and we go racing. On the inside line is Elise de Pauw. Gounon drops back a little bit as up the inside line goes Mathieu Drudy, and there's carnage going into the first corner. Cars scatter everywhere. One Porsche is off. There are 3 cars in the gravel. There's one on the inside line. This is going to be a safety car for sure.
Well, it all kicked off in the middle to the back of the field, turning in, and inevitably 4 cars into 2 into 1 is never going to go.
Now, John, let's have a look at this. Well, we go racing.
Forget about, oh, look down the inside. There's the Mercedes that caused it. It got tipped, then he was off on the inside, and the 2 Audis and the Porsche end up going off. So the Mercedes went way, I mean, it was off track. There it is now, facing wrong way down the middle of Paddock Hill Bend. The Porsche was able to regain track because its rear wheels and tyres were on the tarmac. But watch for the Mercedes. There it goes now. It has actually got 2 wheels off the racing line inside that demarcation. And once he makes the contact, it's a bit like a game of snooker. Just one car hits the other, but there's no pockets for them to go in.
Start involving car 30, 33, 54 and 86 under investigation.
The other element to that, John, of course, you saw Walilko, as you rightly said, 2 wheels on the grass, but of course the barrier starts to taper out, so the room disappears. He had to get back on the racetrack. There, look, you see it taper, so he's got to force his way back on.
Yeah, I mean, it was his error that set off this whole incident. I suspect that's going to be under investigation because he did have 2 wheels across that white demarcation line, and that line is there for a reason. Yep. It's not there to allow you to use it to your advantage.
Now this is Rossi. Look, there's the Mercedes on the right, squeeze, tries to get back on, clips the Porsche, which clips the Audi, which clips the other Audi, and Rossi, that was a real heart-in-mouth moment.
Well, the first thing he would have done was lift his foot off the throttle as quick as possible and look for an escape route, because when you find yourself in a situation like that, you need to look for an escape route. Self-preservation is what Valentino Rossi was thinking at that moment.
Elise tries to jink left and right, just get a bit more temperature in the Pirellis, and Jules Gounon sits there menacingly behind. You can do all the weaving you want, so Jules, I'm not going anywhere, and he'll be on his toes. Here they come then, into Clark curve. De Pauw floors the throttle, the Ferrari accelerates away, and here they come up towards the line then to get the race back underway. Ferrari leads Mercedes, leads Audi, 1, 2, 3, over the line. We're back racing in Fanatec GT at Brands Hatch. Up towards Paddock Hill Bend they go, and it is De Pauw ahead of Gounon by 0.488 of a second as they turn right, plunge downhill, and now up towards Druids.
Yeah, well-controlled restart by the Ferrari, and really nobody's been managing to either gain or lose positions on this restart.
Downhill then for the first time, if you like, proper, without any fear of yellow flags. So the pit window remains at exactly the same place. So these drivers have got fewer laps within their stint than they would have liked. So they've got to push, push, push. And one of them pushing is Rossi. He's there in 14th place, trying to catch onto the back of Ethan Simeoni in the McLaren. And Timo Boguslavski there goes through. In 89, Mercedes down in 5th place, just ahead of the blue Audi of Aurélien Panis. But De Pauw, once more, beautifully controlled restart.
Very good restart. Jules Gounon has picked up the pace, but the car in 3rd place, Matteo Drudi, that is probably of the 3 cars in the lead 3 positions, the one that I think is looking strongest on this restart.
Yeah, that Audi is perhaps quicker in the hands of Matteo Drudi than Luca Giotto, who's still adapting to GT3 cars. Eddie Cheever goes through and looking stronger in 11th place now as you ride on board with the Sky Tempesta Racing Mercedes up towards Sterling to go left, slightly banked corner, back onto the pound, now drag the car out the other side, and all of that grunt of the Mercedes takes it down towards clearways.
And having to be very defensive indeed. They saw the Audi in his mirrors, and likewise he's again, well, is he going to lose position? The Audi has got the drive coming off side by side all the way down, start-finish line, up into Paddock Hill Bend, concedes 1 place, concedes 2 places.
Because right there as well is Ethan Simeoni, who goes through, goes wide. Somebody else has run really wide as well because there's gravel dust settling. They're all pushing on, but Elise De Pauw leads from Gounon in 2nd place. 3rd still is Drudi, and battles rage up and down the order. It's his 4th, Boguslavski 5th.
Cheever was able to retake that position from Simeoni because the mistake that was made in Paddock Hill Bend by the McLaren driver caused him to run wide, so Cheever's claimed back at least one of the 2 positions he lost coming across start-finish line.
Fastest lap, race leader, Elise De Pauw, 1 minute 23.4, 21.7s in qualifying. We'll get there as the cars get lighter. But right now it is the Ferrari up front as the cars dive down towards Hawthorne. So Elise De Pauw leading Jules Gounon. And riding on board here with Valentino Rossi. Now he is shown as being in 15th place, but he was 14th at the start of the lap. So what's gone on here? That's what's happening. Ollie Wilkinson's McLaren has got ahead of him.
Well, that's 1 place lost on the race track. So Valentino Rossi will now focus. What can I do? Ollie Wilkinson takes a load on the curb on the inside, going through Sheen. Now you can see Rossi back onto the rear of the McLaren. So there's a short run out of Sterling's all the way down into clearways. Wilkinson going defensive just to make sure there was no chance of going down the inside by the Audi. Now the first part of this Clark, or clearways Clark combination, but the McLaren beginning to stretch its legs as they come across start-finish line. Work to do for Rossi.
And it is Elise De Pauw at the end of lap 10 who is out on his own. The Ferrari looking dominant at the moment because he's just stroking it away.
Well, he has found something with this Ferrari that even his very eminent teammate Alexander Piolle has not been able to do. He's just got natural speed, and you can see the gap as you come across the line. Another 0.3 of a second gain to the favour of the lead Ferrari. A Porsche off up again at Sheen Curve, so what is going on up there? I mean, this is part of the racetrack that has been resurfaced. Paddock Hill Bend, then down Graham Hill Bend, and further around the racetrack Westfield. So it seems for some reason, let's watch and see. Oh, there's the Porsche. Oh, and yes. Oh, well, all the guys who spend all the time putting up those track advertisers, that's going to be, it needs to be removed because cars will be running out to the very edge of that white line. So that needs to be removed. How are you going to put a marshal out there and do it without putting out a full course yellow? I'm not quite sure.
John, we're riding with Valentino Rossi.
He does like to run wide coming out of Graham Hill Bend. Now up into Surtees, brings the Audi's nose in, makes his apex, gets that all. Right now, you can't say he's doing anything that's not correct. The only thing is he hasn't yet evolved enough time behind the wheel to develop his natural skills to get the pace that ultimately he is seeking. The car's already making their way into the pit lane. because the pit lane window is open.
And the first one in is Drudy. So that's, and also Charles Wirtz and Timo Boguslavski are in early within the window. So number 12 and Matthew Drudy, 32 Charles Wirtz, and 89 Timo Boguslavski all in, and so is Valentino Rossi, eager to let Fred Verviers take over and get on with the job.
Yes, I mean the team. It is a team game. It's not just about an individual behind the wheel. So Fred Verviers already there, opens the door and helps Valentino Rossi out of the car. Then that will be returned as the seat belts, the shoulder straps in particular, are assisted by Rossi. Get the lap strap done up first of all, then you've got the crutch strap, then the shoulder straps. As the lead Ferrari comes through, 3.4 seconds advantage, and he is going to stay out until this pit stop window is about to close. What Jules Gugnon's doing is there, Fred Verviers returns to the track, so stays on the lead lap, which is going to be key for this car's ultimate result. Well, those very early stoppers will maybe gain certainly the track advantage. Oh, off a Porsche again.
Can't get back on the racetrack because of the traffic, couldn't cut back on because of the furniture lying on the ground. So number 56 having a second drama of the race, and once more it's Giorgio Roda.
Yeah, he seems to like that part of the off-track track up at the Sheen curve. It's not something he's doing intentionally, just getting caught by whatever. We'll maybe find out later why he was off there so many times.
Right, so the cars come over the timing line, and on the pit stops, Luca Giotto, number 12, has fallen back behind Dries Van Voor, so the third and fourth placed Audis have switched over.
Not surprised, WRT Audi, the masters of the driver change, pit stop, four wheels tyres. So Gugnon stayed out, he stayed out, so it's a Ferrari, lead Ferrari. I wonder why they would have brought this car in so early, because Ulisses de Pauw was doing such a great job. In my view, keep him out as long as possible, but the team have to make these calls. They've rehearsed, discussed, decided what they're going to do.
Just going back to my Audis for a moment, the Dries Van Voor entry, number 32, moving ahead of number 12 now, Luca Giotto. 41.4 seconds in the pits for number 32 from WRT. Hold that thought, 41.4. The number 12 Audi, 44.9. So again, WRT on the pit stops, boom, gain a place.
You can't make up that time in the racetrack. That's why the pit stop, the driver change, is such a fundamental and important part, particularly in a 1 hour sprint race.
There's 89 Mercedes. This is now Raffaele Marciello, and he's getting himself onto the back of Luca Giotto, who's nowhere near as experienced a GT racer. And Marciello should, I would have thought, make short work of him here. Look at the pressure that's being applied.
Dive down the inside, but it's all cut off by Giotto. He's got lots and lots of great single-seater experience. So now the next opportunity is up the inside into Surtees again. Giotto covers that. So now frustration already on the opening lap for Raffaele Marciello to find a way around the number 12 Audi, but right again under the rear wing. Defence on the right-hand side now. Well, the Mercedes has got the benefit of being a little bit later on the brakes into Hawthorns. He's got it past, good pass. Giotto had to concede. He was too tight coming into Hawthorns and had to get out of the throttle. And there we can see the lead Ferrari now in the hands of Pierre-Alexandre Jean. Oh, so wide, Dries Van Voor. Why are you so wide in paddock?
He saved it, a little mistake, and there, smashing through the polystyrene was 87, the Casper Stevenson Mercedes. So that's why it's now in fragments.
I think he was really trying to get round the Porsche, because it's limping its way back towards the pit lane.
Right, in comes, as Adam Carroll dubbed him at Alton Park, Chicken Nugget. So Jules Gounon comes in, and down the pit road comes 88. Now, he did have, of course, the Sky Tempesta Mercedes ahead on that lap, so he might have just dropped a little bit of time. But the key to all of this is the pit stop time. The pit stop time from the Ferrari was 46.6 seconds. They've got to beat that to try to get the lead.
That's going to be a big ask. I mean, we know that the Coders ASP team are pretty sharp in the pit lane. There is the Ferrari that effectively is our leader coming through Sheen curve, so the wheels, tires being changed. Jules Gounon standing back, watching, get off the pit lane, Jules.
But that wheel didn't go on. No, they lost time there, and you can see the frustration from Jules Gounon. The car's away now, but that will have cost them time. So we'll see when it breaks the beam at pit out. The Ferrari goes through back into the lead, but the Mercedes is going to drop down the order. Let's see, because across the line now there's Vanthoor, and it's cost the Mercedes crew a place. The car rejoins, but that was 46.5 seconds.
But watch Marcello, he has just set the fastest race lap, looking to get alongside up the Jim Pla is on the defence on the inside. Marcello tries to go the long way around. He's got to be careful. He's now half on the racetrack, half off it, but he has found space down the inside into Graham Hill Bend. He can pick up his momentum. He momentarily lost it, and he was, how do I find a way past Jim Pla in my sister car? He made it, he forced it, and that's part of what Raffaele Marcello is all about.
So second all the way through the first stint, and fourth with half a lap of the next stint done. And Jules Gounon is going to be very frustrated. You can tell that. You don't need me to tell you it, because some of the time was lost with that left rear wheel that just wouldn't seat. They had to try again and again and again, and that's cost them a big chunk of time. Let's have a look at this. Go to the left rear. Wheel goes on. Won't. Try again. Look at that.
Watching Christopher Haase. Oh, and the Mercedes Stevenson runs wide. A gift, an absolute gift for Christopher Haase.
Indeed so, and he takes full advantage of that. And there is the race leader. Now there is traffic ahead, and Dries Vanthoor is only a second and a half behind him. That traffic is not getting out of the way, and Pierre-Alexandre Jean can't find a way through, and he looks at the data, looks at the gap, and says, where's all the time gone? It was 2.8, now it's a second and a half. So this little fight that you're looking at as they come through between the Audis is now for sixth. Luca Giotto being reeled in by his much more experienced teammate Christopher Hauser. Ignore the car behind, because Gerhard Sverhauser in that Lamborghini is a lap down. So it's the two car collection Audis going toe-to-toe, sixth and seventh. You've got to put your money on Hauser, really, given his experience.
You have in terms of experience, but a driver like Luca Giotto, who's come out of very competitive, very combative single-seater racing, will be glued one eye on the mirror, one eye on the racetrack. And we know that he's prepared to use the racetrack to defend, and that will frustrate Christopher Haase, who has got maybe natural speed but can't find ultimately the pace to get away around the number 12 Audi, Luca Giotto.
The race leader is on his last warning for track limits at Graham Hill Bend. So Pierre-Alexandre Jean has had enough warnings. Penalties come from here on in. Let's have a look. This is what he has been doing, right up over there. But look at Vanthoor, he's even wider.
Well, and Marcello, all three lead cars are guilty, my lad, of the same penalty. So are they getting notifications likewise?
They were down the order there. Andrea Bertolini goes through, number 52. He's still on the tail of Christian Klein. Still can't find a way past him. Dean McDonald is right with him. This is for second, third and fourth within Pro-Am. It's been like this for lap after lap, but you get the feeling now something might give. As Druids turns Pierre-Alexandre Jean, made a real name for himself in Alpines in GT4 racing, but has adapted to this Ferrari just like Ulysse de Pauw has incredibly well this weekend. Well, Charles Weerts would dearly like for something to give his car an advantage. Ulysse de Pauw can barely watch all of this because he did a mega job in his stint. Now this would be the ideal opportunity, and yes, Balilko does get out of the way. Sorry, Umberescu does get out of the way. Blue lights on. What a dramatic start to our Sprint Cup season in Fanatec GT. The checkered flag is at the ready, and it is going to be a win for AF Corsa, for Ulysse de Pauw, and for Pierre-Alexandre Jean, who brings home the Ferrari to win race one of the Sprint Cup at Brands Hatch. Dries Vanthoor is second, Raffaele Marciello is third, and a brilliant job done by the Ferrari team. This for fourth is Jim Pla, delayed in the pits, but fourth is the reward. And Ulysse de Pauw can finally breathe.
Great result for AF Corsa. Great result for the two drivers, Ulysse de Pauw and Pierre-Alexandre Jean. A faultless race, great pit stop. Only the concerns of those closing laps.
And Vervish has got himself looked right onto the back of Rob Bell. I don't think he's quite going to be able to get close enough to make a move at the very end, but not for the want of trying as they come across the line. So Rob Bell 12th and Fred Vervish with Valentino Rossi 13th. Cedric Sprazzioli is about to come through to win in Pro-Am, but second, third, fourth, they're still in the same order. They're stuck behind 93 for the 93 Mercedes, I should say. It's Sky Tempesta Racing, Chris Froggatt fending them all off. And so Christian Klein keeps Bertolini and also Dean McDonald at bay down through Clark Curve. They will come in a moment, the flag awaits. And so, although Sprazzioli has been through to win in Pro-Am, for second it's going to be Klein and Krupinski, and they might just get a place overall because the McLaren is absolutely level with the Mercedes and does go through on the line. And the margin between Klein and Froggatt was 14 thousandths of a second. Wow. And it's been a rare outright win in sprint for Ferrari, but Ulysse de Pauw absolutely overjoyed, and Pierre-Alexandre Jean was able to show his mettle, didn't crack under the pressure.
No, he did a very, very good job indeed. I know he was disappointed. He expressed that disappointment after his qualifying session Saturday afternoon. But look at that emotion. Go on, guys. Let it go.
Brilliant. So after a couple of seasons in the privateer CMR Bentley, they've made the step to really the top Ferrari team, AF Corsa, and a brilliant job. Charles Weir, it's really nice to see. He's the first one from anywhere other than their own team to come across and say well done. He knows what it feels like to have that first GT win, and although he's only second, and there's Vincent Vos, the team principal, with Dries Van Thorp, they gave it their best shot. Right, let's hear then from Pierre-Alexandre Jean and Ulysse de Pauw, winners of our first Sprint Cup race of the year.
Pierre, still just getting your helmet off and celebrations. Absolutely wonderful to see the both of you so excited. Ulysse, you drove the incredible stint there, and it was hard for you to watch that second stint.
Yeah, it's I'm over the moon. It's simply amazing. The car was perfect. It's the perfect scenario for us to start the championship like that. Hats off to AF Corsa for a stunning car, and PA for finishing the job and kept the other under pressure. So I'm out of word.
I know you can get your winner's hat on. Well
yeah,
done,
it's important.
Do you know what? As you were coming into here in Parc Fermé, I could hear you screaming within the car.
And you know what? Last year in Monaco, I told you every time that I eat egg in the morning, it works. I ate egg this morning with my teammate, and apparently it works correctly. So yeah, very happy. What a race! What a race! Congrats to this guy who did a very, very good job starting pole, get away and give me a perfect car. So after I just had to put some laps, be careful about track limit, and yeah, win this race on the first race of the season is quite good. We still have a long season ahead, but it's good to start like this.
So let's look at the provisional results of the opening Sprint Cup race of the Fanatec GT season. A win for Ulysse de Pauw and Pierre-Alexandre Jean ahead of Charles Weir and Dries Van Thorp, Timur Bogoslavski and Raffaele Marciello third, ahead of Jules Gounon and Jim Clark, with Aurélien Panis fifth, and Patrick Niederhauser with the top six rounded out by Mattia Drudi and Luca Giotto. The Ferrari team very, very pleased indeed with what has been a great result. The AF Corsa squad wins at Brands Hatch. The grid for race 2 is formed here at Brands Hatch, and it's a little bit more overcast. It's a little bit cooler than it was earlier, and we've also had quite a bit of rain over the last hour. The track has been declared wet. It isn't raining now, but we have had a bit, and it's made the circuit just a little bit greasy. So Raffaele Marciello and Patrick Niederhauser line up on the front row ahead of Dries Van Thorp and Christopher Hauser, and then Jim Plough and Pierre-Alexandre Jean go first on row 3. It's Dennis Marshall starting 7th alongside Christopher Mies. Luca Giotto starts 9th, and Fred Verviche is alongside him, with Casper Stevenson sharing the next row with Christian Kleen. Then from Pro-Am, Andrea Bertolini goes toe-to-toe with Cedric Sparazioli, the two teammates at AF Corsa. The Porsche of Christian Engelhardt alongside Rob Bell's McLaren. The Audis are next, Alex Arca and Nicholas Bart ahead of Klaus Battler's Porsche, and the Mercedes of Chris Froggatt, the Sky Tempesta Racing entry. Manuel Maldonado's Garage 59 McLaren is next, with Gerhard Schwerazer's Lamborghini alongside. And the last row of the grid is Dean McDonald's McLaren, and alongside him is Petru Umberescu, with starting from the pits Thomas Neubauer, Silver Cup outright winner here in 2019. The pace car peels in. It is up now towards the timing line. Raffaele Marciello in the Mercedes on pole position. Patrick Niederhauser in the blue Audi lines up alongside. The lights will go green to get the race underway any second now. And a really good getaway by Marciello, who's about 3 lengths clear of everybody else on the run up towards paddock. He caught them napping. That was a demon start.
And Niederhauser did a good job to get that Audi. And look at the Ferrari, almost 4 wheels off the track.
Up towards Druids there. Marciello getting away. There on the outside line is the Ferrari. Pierre-Alexandre Jean goes wide, wide, wide into Druids. Jim Plough nips up the inside and gets ahead of him. And now look at the Ferrari. The white Ferrari on the inside goes up to try to gain a place. And Van Thorp rounds Hauser out wide as they come through Graham Hill Bend for the first time. And drama there. Around has gone the number 18 Lamborghini. That is Gerhard Schwerazer. And he had a bit of help in that.
Yes, and there's the nose of the Audi up against the door of the Lamborghini. But here we are following. So this is on board Jimmy Plough looking at the back of the 3200 to get through there. So Niederhauser consolidating that second place.
Whoops, sideways Porsches very nearly getting together there.
The Porsche's got a puncture. I think the right rear has been cut down, probably contact somewhere. That's why everybody's stacked up coming through Hawthorns.
Right, look back then. You can see there the Jim Pla Mercedes, which is running in what, 4th place. Good getaway. But Raffaele Marciello has checked out. Look at this, he's on his own. He's nearly in the next round of the championship. Niederhauser is 2nd, 3rd is Van Thor, 4th is Pla, and then in 5th place is Hauser as they come up towards the line. But dramas for a number of teams on that opening lap, but Marciello's gap is obscene. Well, he comes across the line way clear.
I mean, I don't know whether he jumped the start or whether he just anticipated it better than anybody else, but he left the rest of the field, literally, as you say, standing, and has now got a very comfortable in the opening lap 2-second advantage.
Yeah, 2 seconds after 1 lap. Oof, that's going as Fred Verviche in 10th place in number 46. The Valentino Rossi Audi, if you like, turns out of Druids, but he's on the attack now, closing onto the back of German driver Dennis Marschall in another of the Audi R8, run out of a different stable. The Attempto Racing team there, side by side. Look, Ferrari versus Porsche, 2 great GT brands, and Cedric Strazioli in the Ferrari gets up the inside of Klaus Bachler and goes through. These Porsches are really struggling this weekend. Now there's a replay of the start. Again, Marciello was just so good. 2 or 3 lengths clear as he got to the line. Everybody else having to scrap over 2nd place. But Marciello's first lap on cold tyres, impressive.
Yeah, well, the light literally went out and he was hard on it. And the field behind seemed to be just hesitant in getting as quickly or reacting as quickly as we saw from Marciello. Now, that advantage that he got on this opening, look, you can see already he's got maybe half a second of an advantage over Niederhauser as the rest of the field thunders all the way down through Paddock Bend. Here's the view back from Dries van Thor's Audi. The Ferrari is trying to get in, but there's nowhere for it to go. The Ferrari is holding it out, and that was part of what lost the Ferrari some of the ground. Look how wide it gets at the exit of Paddock Bend.
On board with Chris Froggatt. He's got them stacked up behind him, but he's resisting all of that pressure very nicely.
Is that Mercedes noisier than any other Mercedes, or is just where the microphone in the cockpit is based?
It does sound noisy, you're right. Might be where the microphone is. But it was making a funny noise yesterday, that's for sure.
It is loud.
Well, the Mercedes boom along Cooper Straight. And under braking there, Thomas Neubauer, ex-Mercedes racer himself, closes a touch onto the back of Umberescu. This is Froggatt again at work. But look at the gap of Marciello. He's got the straight to himself.
Yeah, but the gap between 2nd and 3rd looks to me to be marginally reducing. Let's see what it is coming across the line. Yeah, well, it's 7/10 of a second. That was from 1.5 seconds a couple of laps ago. So either Niederhauser has made an error or Van Thor has found pace that he didn't have in the opening laps.
Through clock curve they come. Dean McDonald was on his toes there, trying to get up the inside of the Audi, but it didn't work. Chris Froggatt again just gets away because Neubauer has to go on the attack and Umberescu on the defensive, coming up towards the line. And actually, this is Neubauer's best chance yet, but he's committed to the outside line. He needs the undercut.
Yeah, and I thought Dean McDonald was going to try and slot the McLaren in, get his nose into the inside as they come up. They lob the inside. Well, that is going to be... He's made it work. How there wasn't contact between those 2 cars. Good driving on the part of Umberescu to avoid that. And you can see within the AWR team, they give it an applause.
And Van Thor just about now is close enough to think about making a move, but to do it, he's got to be brave.
Where would you do it? Do you think, OK, I'll do it down into clearways, but the gap is remaining constant all the way down the short straight into clearways. Next place going to be up into Paddock Bend. Good exit from Dries van Thor. He's got the momentum now, but again, Niederhauser's going to hug the inside of the racetrack, forcing Van Thor the long way around, and he can only go so far in the entry into Paddock Bend before he's going to get out of it. Niederhauser's consolidated. Now Van Thor's going to think about going up the inside into Druids, but again, covered off.
He's determined to strike, isn't he, as they come now through the corner. Little clip of the curve by Niederhauser. The car twitches slightly, but Van Thor not able to take advantage of that. Downhill, Graham Hill bend, go left. Run wide, over the curb on the outside. The 2 Audis skip back onto the circuit. The margin between them at the start of the lap, 0.146 of a second. Go left, onto the Grand Prix loop. They could not be closer. Neubauer gets past Froggatt, gains another place, goes through, goes 19th.
Cars into the pit lane already.
Absolutely, so it's 1 or 2 of the Silver Cup or Pro-Am entries, but it's Niederhauser as well that comes in. So Patrick Niederhauser and also Jim Pla come in early. Now that's interesting. Niederhauser in as soon as possible to give way to Aurélien Panis. That surprises me. Jim Pla for Gounon is rather more obvious.
Yes, I think it is to get Gounon behind the wheel. I think that's the right thing to do. Bringing Niederhauser in quite so early, well, maybe I would have kept him out a little bit longer. So there is the work going on the 88. So Jules Gounon behind the wheel. Remember, they had a poor pit stop the first race today. That left rear was the troublesome tyre. So they've got it done. The car's about to start rolling down the pit lane as our race leader continues all the way around the back of the Grand Prix loop.
And just looking at this, the 88 Mercedes has got ahead of the Santalok Audi. So on the pit stops, Jules Gounon there, look, will come out ahead of Aurélien Panis. So that's what I was saying about WRT. They could certainly jump Santalok on the pit stops because the ASP Mercedes has done exactly that. Now the stop from 88 was 43.5 seconds, and from Santalok 52.3. That's a dreadful stop.
That's terrible. I mean, you cannot at this level give away 1 second, let alone 6 seconds.
As the next one for the pits is Dries Van Voor. Now this pit stop is going to be fascinating to see the time thereof. The best pit stop so far in this race is 43.5 seconds from ASP, and now Acodis ASP, this year's team name. So Van Voor stops and gets out. Charles Weert will get in. There's 53 Ferrari. Pierre-Alexandre Jean gives way to Elise de Pauw, but anything better than 43.5 seconds out of Audi number 32, and it's game on.
Very much so. The Ferrari likewise then, so Ulysse de Pauw will take over from Pierre-Alexandre Jean. So that, of course, the service Ferrari is rolling. So interesting to see just where that car's pit stop time is.
And for WRT, 41.3 seconds. 41.3. That is 11 seconds quicker than the Santalok pit stop.
Ferrari pit stop 45.2. So they've lost the best part of 4 seconds to the competition.
Valley is ready to go. The doctor will see you now.
Valentino gets to the door, opens it up, assists Fedrovic get out. There we go. Now get the seat belts attached, get the shoulder straps across, get the lap belt attached. That is also incorporating the crutch straps. So Fedrovic, considerable amount of it. Now tighten the shoulder straps, Valentino. You can't do it when you're driving down the pit lane.
But you see how well drilled that stop was, and the car is waved away.
Fedrovic, he was unhappy because they lost maybe up to 2 seconds, but certainly 1 second by not being quite on the ball, getting the car rolling.
And is that the leader in? It is. Raffaele Marciello then arrives with Timur Boguslavski set to take over. But now the pit stop and Boguslavski's pace will dictate the outcome of the race.
Yes, this should be. Let's watch and see the pit stop time. 41.3 is the best time we've seen to date. That was for the WRT Audi number 32. So clock still ticking away, rolling as it moves down to the end of the pit lane. So it's going to be not as quick as the WRT.
No. 43, 44, 45, wow. 46. It's not as decent as I thought. 46.4 seconds.
Disappointingly slow time for the Mercedes, but they had such an advantage. Christian Klein, by the way, in the lead for his last lap before he makes the way into the pits, so he gets the honour of leading a Silver Cup car.
Right, it's game on, because now Timur Boguslavski is being chased by Charles Weert, and this is exactly what I was thinking. If WRT could jump Santalok on the stops, which they've done, we know that Weert is quick, and now he's hunting down Boguslavski, who's got to get himself up to speed and who has lost time anyway because his pit stop was, 5 seconds, 5.3 seconds slower. So they've already lost a chunk of time against number 32 Audi. This is going to make the second part of this race really interesting. Well, Rossi has caught the GSM Nova Marine Lamborghini, which should get out of the way. And it holds its line. The blue light flashes on the bridge. So Valentino round the outside, puts a lap on to Tumlu and goes through.
And more importantly, he's now got a car between himself and the pursuing 3 cars. Again, he got cleanly through at an important part of the racetrack. Didn't lose any momentum. When the other 3 catch up, it'll be partly where they catch. And they are battling amongst themselves, so their focus will be on taking advantage of each other, at the same time not putting themselves in a disadvantaged position.
So there, down towards Hawthorns, goes the second placed Audi. And Charles Weert turns through Hawthorns. There is Jules Gounon hunting him down. This is Gounon's view. Heads towards Westfield now, turns right, rattles the curb. He's creeping up onto the back. The gap 1.6 seconds. But you can sense the frustration from Weert because he's on the limit, but he just can't do anything about Boguslavski. He's not even eating into it. The gap's going up. And that is Patrick Krupinski leading still in Pro-Am, but almost undoing Christian Klein's good work there by running way wide at Paddock Hill Bend. But he's back on the racetrack. Some big drama there for Jean-Baptiste Simonard at Druids. He's had a lose. Gets back into the race, but that's cost him a fair few places. How did he do it? Let's see.
Was that on his own, or was there an assist? There was. No, there was an assist indeed. There was. Thomas Drouet in the Mercedes clobbered into the rear of the Audi.
That is Rossi. He is still in 8th. but behind him is Thomas Drouet, and we saw how aggressive he can be up at Druids a few laps ago.
So Valentino will be looking in his mirrors, keeping an eye on the road ahead. He's got a clear road ahead, so his focus is now very much on the Mercedes running behind, and then Nicolas Schüll in the 99 Audi directly behind the Mercedes. So under pressure for a top 10 finish for the 46 Audi here this afternoon.
Now this is looking back from Weerts. That is still Jules Gounon menacingly close behind, but Jules is just not quite able to get there behind him.
You can catch, and then he gets into that sort of wash, that dirty air from the back of the Audi, and that sort of plateaus out the attack that Gounon has been planning all the way through. Takes a lot of curb on the inside coming into Sheen. That gave a marginal advantage to close down the back of the Audi. Wants to get again as close as possible between now and the entry into clearways. Of course, they've still got those 3 back markers to deal with. So Gounon ought to be fractionally closer when they come across the start-finish line.
So there they are. Giorgio Roda goes through ahead of Miguel Ramos, ahead of Hugo Delacour. The leader has picked his way through, but unwittingly these back markers might change the situation for second place, because if you encounter one at exactly the wrong moment, that might give an opportunity to the car behind. Let's see. Gounon is closer than ever before now. Charles Weerts has got to try and time this absolutely right. Boguslavski is away and gone up the road though.
He's clear, he's got no pressure whatsoever. There is our race leader.
And soon to be race winner, Timur Boguslavski carrying on Raffaele Marciello's good work. Here they come after mechanical maladies scuppered potential wins last year. This has been an absolutely perfect day, certainly as far as race 2 is concerned. The car then now comes down towards Clearways at Clark Curve. We're looking back from the Charles Weerts Audi. We'll come back to it in a moment, because first of all there's a checkered flag at the ready. There's an Acodis ASP win for Timur Boguslavski and Raffaele Marciello, who win at Brands Hatch. Here is second and third. They're together in the traffic, but Charles Weerts has just done enough. He is second, Jules Gounon is third, and the margin was 0.273 of a second, but Raffaele Marciello is delighted, and Dries van Thorp has to at least accept second place and the points, which are going to be crucial during the year. And they're finishing in 8th place, Valentino Rossi, and 8th in this company is certainly no disgrace.
I think he'd be very, very happy indeed. You can see giving his love to the TV viewers, to the fans around the racetrack.
Well, Timur Boguslavski and Raffaele Marciello are our race winners. 6.5 seconds was the margin in the end, but I think that was Timur making sure he got it home safely. Let's hear their thoughts now, though, with Gemma.
Raffaele, you seem to set up a perfect stint there for Timur. An incredible, I think, 11 seconds you were ahead at one point.
Yeah, as I said, the car felt good all the weekend. I think I did P1 in every practice and 2 fastest laps, so I mean, means the car was mega. Timur, since Chialami is also mega quick, so I mean, he's doing a mega job. The car is mega, so I look forward to Magny-Cours.
Absolutely, well done, a fantastic race. Timur, you must have enjoyed that.
Yeah, so yesterday was her birthday. I think 22, and Raffaele make a perfect present for me. So he gave me a ball and more than 10 seconds gap. So, but yeah, car was mega. I was drive like maximum easily and without any dangerous moves. So to save the tires, maybe because of the safety car or some that happens. But yeah, everything is good. So
thank you very much. Well done. Congratulations.
Timur Boguslavski and Raffaele Marciello win at Brands Hatch from Charles Weerts and Dries van Thorp, with Jules Gounon and Jim Clark taking third. Good result for fourth, Simon Gachet and Christopher Hauser ahead of the race 1 winners, Ulysse de Pauw and Pierre-Alexandre Jean. 6th, Aurelien Panis and Patrick Niederhauser. The second of the silvers, Thomas Drouet and Casper Stevenson. 9th, and the third of them, Nicolas Schüll and Alex Arca, 10th overall. Well, there, Raffaele and Timur Boguslavski, they received their trophies, and now there'll be a big smile, I'm sure. And last but not least, Raffaele it is who gets the trophy, and a very happy man he is too. Well, there the celebrations continue as Timur Boguslavski and Raffaele Marciello can reflect on a great drive. We've had 2 really interesting races to kick off our Fanatec GT Sprint Cup season, and we look forward to more of the same in 2 weeks' time from Magny-Cours. For now, though, from Brands Hatch, thanks for your company. From Gemma Scott in the pits, John Watson and me, David Addison, for now, it's goodbye.